Hey guys, welcome back. It's a new season, but the same old team as last year. Last year we had a very tough challenge, and it seems that the game thinks that our second year in the Premier League is going to be just the same. In the season preview, we are predicted to come 20th, so it looks like this year is not going to be any easier than last year. New teams have come up, of course. Teams went down. We had Leicester, Everton, and also Brighton. They all got relegated. But this year we have Stoke. Stoke has come back up straight away. One season in the Championship, they've come straight back up. Obviously, in real life, they do seem to be having a bit of struggles in the Championship. But many people expected them to do quite well. Also, Aston Villa finally came back up. It's been a while. 1, 2, 3 years. It's been okay. It felt like it's been a bit longer than that, doesn't it? But yeah, they've had a few years in the Championship. They keep spending money. They seem to perform okay, but they never seem to be able to do well enough to get promoted. And they seem to have Harry Maguire there. So yeah, I actually did try and buy Jack Grealish at one point. I will admit to that at one point, but he was very expensive. And our old rivals, Swansea, have returned, as well as Stoke, to the Premier League, with Graham Potter leading them. Our old enemy, Cardiff and Swansea, the two Welsh rivals, were both in the Premier League once again. It's going to be fun. Hopefully, I am a Swansea fan. I keep trying to reiterate this. I am a Swansea fan, but I'm managing Cardiff, so I had to put that aside, and we need to get Swansea relegated. We're going to beat them this year and hopefully get them relegated. Obviously, though, even though we are bottom, there are quite a few of us per 1,000 to 1, so maybe it's pretty close between us. I'm just going to hope for that. Now, you're probably wondering, what have we done? What have we done to improve our team? And I will tell you guys, I have done quite a few improvements. I did spend all my transfer money. I was given about 40 million, and I spent everything, because we needed to improve this team. And I decided to go with quality over quantity. We've had a complete overhaul. All the players that I did not trust or did not think were good enough were let go. They were either let go on a free contract. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care about getting money back for you. I'm just going to let you go. Or we sold some players that I just didn't trust. That if I had to put them in the first team, I wouldn't want to. And we've replaced them. So I tried to let go of everything. We did a complete overhaul, and the players I brought in are players that I think we can trust. So I did kind of spend quite a bit of money on a few players. I didn't bring in lots of players for small amounts of money. I spent big money on players I felt could really improve the squad, but in positions that we needed because we let go of other players. So there were certain players in certain positions I didn't get players for, which annoyed me. So it wasn't the perfect transfer season, but I think the players we brought in are good quality, and I think they'll fit the team. So let's go straight to the transfers then, so you guys can find out what has happened over the summer here at Cardiff. And here we are. First, we'll talk a bit about the ones we've let go, and we'll talk about what's come in. We spent 50 million. We were given about I guess it was about 41 million, and then I sold 9 million. We let go Kenneth Zohorda Huddersfield. I sold him for about 8 million at the time. That's what his value was. It kept going down over the summer. I just didn't trust him. He didn't score a single time. I didn't give him many chances, though. I have to admit to that. But I just didn't trust he was going to score many goals. In real life as well, he doesn't score that many. So I don't know. He's got the stats to say he's pretty good, but he just didn't show me that. So I did not trust him. So I wanted to bring someone else that we could trust to back up Bobby Reed. So we let go of Kenneth Zohor. Gary Madine was the same, another striker who I didn't think was good enough for the Premier League, so we let him go for just a cheaper, whatever we could get, 400,000 that could rise to 575,000. Mark Harris was let go on a free, apparently just a young Cardiff player, doesn't matter. Danny Ward, he was let go, he was on loan last year, 28 years old, he's not that old, but again, just not Premier League quality. We let him go for what money we could get, 1.3 million, wasn't too bad. And Reece Healy, another young, well, not young actually, he's 24 now. Another player that just wasn't good for the Premier League. We let him go out on loan to Bristol Rovers. And there were a bunch of players that went out on frees. If we went over the free players that went out, it'd be ridiculous. But there's a lot of players that went out out of contract. So any player you don't notice in the squad probably went out on a free. So yeah. But let's talk about what we did bring in. We spent 50 million, but we only brought in 6 players. And I would, like I say, you can see here, we spent big money on almost every single one unless it was a free. And there were some players that were quite cheap that I almost got. We'll talk about the players that I didn't get in a second. We'll talk about those ones that I didn't get for different reasons in a second. But first up, I brought in Gary Cahill. So Gary Cahill is a player that's been there. He's done it. When he was at Bolton many years ago, I thought he was really good for them. I was not surprised when he was bought when Bolton got relegated by Chelsea. Though going to Chelsea was I thought it was a big jump. I wasn't sure if he was that good. I thought maybe a middle team like Everton or, you know, Stoke or something would be fine. But he went to Chelsea and he's done pretty well at Chelsea. Many games, he's been there, done it with them. Last year, he was at Crystal Palace. Apparently, I guess they bought him in January or something. I'm not sure. He didn't have a good time last season. We didn't play many games. So I'm hoping that he just didn't get to play many games and that he came on as a substitute and that's why his rating's quite low. But he was also a free. So I thought for nothing, Gary Cahill hopefully can help our defense because I did feel our defense was deteriorating from last year. At the beginning of last year, I said, our defense seems pretty good. But they kind of let me down. You know, Bamba obviously was not good enough. The 3 ones we had, Morrison, I think is fine, but he got a bit upset, and that made his rating go down. Connolly, I don't think is good enough, and Manga is not getting any younger. So I really wanted to bring in some new defenders. So Gary Cahill, I thought, could bring that bit of quality in, the experience. Again, it's another old defender, and he's not that quick, but I think he'll be good enough for now. And I did bring in another. I was planning to bring in another defender already, so him with the other defender I brought in actually go really well together, I think, because the other defender is very young, but Gary Cahill is very old, so I'm hoping he can last a couple of seasons and do a good job for us. I think he's a great signing for a team like Cardiff, you know, that experience and stuff. Look at these stats. Lovely stats in most places. My coaches say he's really good, and I do understand, so I'm going to say in my comment section, the stars don't always mean anything. I understand. I'm just saying to you guys, the coaches, though, agree with my decision. They think he's good. But I know the stars don't always reflect a good player. You gotta look at the stats themselves, you gotta look at the player traits, the personality, and even players that look really good can sometimes just not perform. I find in previous FMs, a good example of that would be Benteke. I've seen Benteke in previous FMs, and he just doesn't perform for his teams. At least that's what I've seen in my games, but yeah. So I'm hoping Gary Cahill could be a great choice. I also brought in on a free, Ashley Young. Another old player. We brought in 2 old guys, but they've both been there and done it. They've both done a lot of things. They've both been at their clubs for a long time. They've got a lot of experience. Both have got very good mental stats. Because we were playing with wingbacks, now Ashley Young is not really fond of playing a wingback, but I think his stats look really good for a wingback. I think he's fine for that. He can go on the attack a bit more, but he can still defend a little bit. He prefers to play here, but his marking's really bad, so I wouldn't want to play him there. So I'm thinking if we do use the formation we used last year, Ashley Young is he's a pretty useful one, actually. We've actually got 2 tactics this year, so I'm keeping our old tactic from last year. I made a couple of changes to some of the tactics of it, but we're keeping that formation just in case for when we play big teams. And we got another formation when we want to do attacking football, because obviously the club do want me to play attacking football. In that formation, Ashley Young would likely not play, but just in case he was just kind of an extra, he can play a few different positions. You can play on the other side if need be. He can also play as a midfielder there, possibly as a winger. So he can play quite a few positions. He's not great. He's a little bit old now, and so he's probably not going to do much for us. But yeah, that's Ashley Young. I thought he's good on a free. And because of Ashley Richards, we had to completely redo our right back area. So I did bring in another right back because I want Patterson to play in the midfield. Ashley Richards, I just don't trust. He's gone down to the under 23s. We still have him because he wasn't worth much, but I put him in the under 23s. So maybe in the future he can show us he can play well, but for now I just don't trust him. So that sort of thing, I brought in Ashley Young to replace him for that. Now, we'll get into the players that I bought. We brought in also Sergi Enrich from Eibar. He was 7.75 million. He's already valued at 13 million. And I needed a striker, of course. We let go of Kenneth Zohor and Gary Medine, so I thought we need to bring in another striker to complement or be better than or be similar to Bobby Reid. And Sergi Enrique, I think, does that exactly. He's 29 years old. Our coaches think he's just better than Bobby Reid. I'm not sure if he actually is better. I really like Bobby Reid, but his stats are all going down right now. But I'm hoping he could be a really nice little sign-in. In real life, I don't think he's playing that well. He's okay. But in last season, in La Liga with Elba, he scored 17 goals in 32 appearances. I think that's really good. I was looking at a few different strikers. And to me, he actually had a pretty good season last year. So I thought maybe that shows this year in FM, he's pretty good. So I brought him as our other striker. Now the next one is Chris Mayfam from Brentford. I spent 14 million. I spent a lot of money on this guy. But he is our other defender. He is our other defender because he is the future. He's Welsh, so that's really good. He was my #1 target for defender. He's valued at 11.75 million, so we did maybe spend for him. But he looks really good. They're saying, my coaches think he's as good as Gary Cahill, but he could potentially be better. And he's only 21. So I think this guy could be a really good guy for the future. His stats aren't as good as Gary Cahill in my mind, but he definitely could be as good or maybe better. He probably could be better, actually, in the future. So I was really happy to bring him in. He's the one I wanted. He played in the Championship last year. He got a 7.11. So I thought, you know what? He looks like he could be a top player. He deserves a chance in the Premier League. So him and Gary Cahill is kind of my idea. When we're playing with two centre-backs, Chris Mayfam and Gary Cahill would make a great combination. One young, one old. So hopefully he can learn from Gary Cahill and our other older defenders. So really happy with this purchase. He's probably my favourite one. I'm really looking forward to see what he can do. After that, I wanted to bring another right back, obviously, because Ashley Young could play as the wing back. But I thought if we play with a right back, we want a more defensive-minded person. So Ashley Young is more for the attack at right back. And if we really want to defend, we have Luke Ayling. So I brought Luke Ayling in. We spent 7.5 million, which I think was okay. He was valued at 7 at the time. He's now valued at 9.5 million. He wasn't too expensive when it came to wages and stuff. His stats, I think, are pretty good. Not crazy good, but it wasn't the most expensive transfer. He had a very good season last year for Leeds. So I thought, you know, that's again another character, another person we can give a chance in the Premier League. But he's got 14 tackling, 13 marking, but he can go forward if need be. So he's just kind of more defensive Ashley Young. So that's kind of the right back position now done. And Ashley Richards goes into the under-23s because I can't trust him. Now the next one is our big buy. Obviously Leicester, Everton, and Birmingham. Is it Brighton? Why did I say Birmingham? Brighton all went down. I did want to buy a player from one of them, but obviously, you know, it was hard because a lot of those players didn't perform well last year. I was like, are they going to perform? Maybe they just badly perform in FM this year. And I wanted another midfielder. We needed a midfielder. There's a few players that I did want, but I couldn't get. But I did bring in Wilfred Ndidi for 20.5 million, which is a lot of money from Leicester. He was valued at 20.5 million. He wanted to leave. And I thought I wanted a player who could play a defensive midfielder, but also play midfield. So he was perfect for that. I think his stats are really good. He is our best player at the club. And look at that. The coaches think as well. He's also only 22. So, I mean, he could still improve. He could still improve after this. So, I really liked him. Also, last season, he did play really well. He got a 6.92 for Leicester, even though they got relegated. So, that's normally a good sign. So, he's a big risk. A lot of money. But that's how much money I had left. And, you know, if I was going to bring in players, I wanted to bring in top-class players. That was my idea. So that's what we've been bringing in. And so, yeah, that is the club right now. You can see here we've got Gunnarsson is now the captain. I changed Morrison for Gunnarsson because Gunnarsson was great last season. Morrison, I was a bit disappointed in his character. You know, he got upset about the whole Lee Peltier thing. Gunnarsson, though, great professional last season. He got, you know, the fans player of the year. So I put him as the captain. Gary Cahill is going to be the vice captain. He has great leadership skills and stuff. Wilfred Ndidi is our key player. And Darcy McDonald, that little young striker we got, is our hot prospect. Finance-wise, we've gone down to 10 million. It was at like 50 million because we spent, what was it? Probably 60 million actually. Because we spent 50 million, it's gone down. at the moment. So our debt is still extremely high, but that just means we've got to keep staying in the Premier League at this point in time. Now, when it comes to other players that I didn't get, there are quite a few. And just so you guys know, there will only be one match this game, this part, because obviously we've got a lot to go through the beginning here. Next time, though, there will be 2 matches. But yes, because the transfers obviously are over. The transfers finish early this time in the Premier League. So there were a few players I wanted to bring in, but I couldn't for different reasons. When it came to striker there, Sergi Enrique was actually my first choice. So I got him, and I was very happy. The price and his ability I thought was really good. There was no one that really stood out to me. I mean, yeah, there wasn't really anyone that stood out. And again, if you guys don't know, I buy players based upon certain requirements. They have to either be told to me by my scouts at some point, so I always keep a big list of shortlist players from my scouts, or to put on the transfer list, or to put on the loan list, something like that. I don't go out and search for specific players, because it's very easy to game this game if you do that. I try not to be too gamey on that type of thing. So I got the striker I wanted, that was fine. On the left, I looked at Lucas Ocampos again. I wanted to bring him in, but we just didn't have any money left. Really, my biggest disappointment here are the attacking roles. We didn't get a left wing or right winger. I did want to bring in another player for one of those 2 sides, but because we needed to completely change our right wing and right back area, I wanted to redo our defenders. Those 2 are the most important places, and we needed a striker. So because of my refurbishing, because we let go of so many players, I had to get certain players of positions that we needed players, such as striker and right back and midfield, because the loans that left. Left wing, you know, we still have Josh Murphy and Junior, and I think, you know, Josh is actually a decent player, and Junior's a good backup, so we didn't need to bring, but I had to bring players for what we needed. On the right, obviously, with Dos Santos and Jimmy Cabot. Again, this area I really did want to bring a player in, because I thought we could use Dos Santos as the attacking midfield, possibly, so we needed someone to go with Jimmy. And the player that I wanted was Anthony Knockout? I can't pronounce his name, but I did want to bring him in. Leicester got relegated last season. He was 25 million. They wanted 25 million for him to go. So that was a lot of money. But I did really want him. I did put in the offer, but he decided to go with Huddersfield instead. So we didn't get Anthony. His stats look really nice, and he had a really good season last year, even though Brighton got relegated. So he was kind of the player that I wanted. I got Ndidi instead of him, really. That's kind of what happened, because he went to Huddersfield. But we almost brought him in. That would have been the one I would have wanted. Also in the attacking midfield role, I did want Miguel Almiron. He was they only wanted like 3 million for him. And even though he's only valued at 1.7 million, he's playing in America, Atlanta. He looks really nice. And he's only 25 years old. He's Paraguayan. Really good stats overall. He played really well in America. So I really wanted to bring him in, but he did not want to discuss a contract. He did not want to go to a club like Cardiff, he said. So I was which kind of was a bit weird to me. He didn't want to leave Atlanta for us, but I guess he's hoping, he's hanging on for another team. His contract's almost up in 6 months, so maybe we'll be able to get him for free if no one else goes for him before his contract runs out. But probably someone will, but I really wanted him. In midfield, the other player I was looking at, Ndidi was one of my choices, but the other one I was looking at was Idrissa Gueye. He obviously got relegated with Everton, so him and Ndidi were in a very similar position. They both play very similarly, both very, you know, sort of defending midfielders. They can both play in midfield or defensive midfield, and they're both African. They both play for a team that was relegated. They both have very good stats in that midfield. So I kind of wanted to bring in him, but he was valued at 27 million. And Everton wanted like 30 million. And he's 30 years old. And Ndidi's like 22. So I thought, if I spend all that money and we only get him for a few years, who knows, obviously, then it doesn't feel like it's worth it. If I get Ndidi, he can maybe possibly still improve, and we could maybe sell him on for more money in the future and get many years out of him, and he's cheaper right now. That makes more sense to me. I didn't think there was a big difference in their ability when it came to their stats here. So I went for Ndidi in the end, but also I couldn't afford Gueye in the end anyway. But he was the one I was looking at. When it comes to others, left back, who were, I'm pretty sure there was someone here I was looking at. No, wasn't there? No, I don't think I was really looking. I wasn't really looking for left backs, I think, at the time. Unless I deleted it. I don't know. Maybe there was no left back I wanted. Goalkeepers, well, didn't look for goalkeepers. Defenders. No, there was no one else I really wanted. I got the defenders I wanted, actually. So that went quite well, actually. Defenders was really good. I got the defenders I wanted. There wasn't really a big deal there. And at right back, the only other one I was looking at was Santiago Arias, because he was pretty cheap at the time, but I couldn't get him. And Jonas Svensson, I talked about him last time from January, but because he's very good at attacking, he is more like sort of the actually. I wanted one who's better at defending. Ayling seemed better at defending to me, so I went for Ayling instead. And he was slightly cheaper than Svensson, so I didn't bring in Svensson in the end again. Oh, and actually there was another player. There was a nice cheap player. I think it was this guy, Jacek Goralski. Yeah, I almost brought in this guy for if I wanted. I was thinking about getting a cheap one maybe because he's cheap, obviously, than Ndidi and Guy, and I think his stats look really good. So I almost brought in this guy, but I felt a lot of his technical, like he can't do much except defend. That's all. So if we want to play him more of a midfield role, he's not very versatile. So in the end, I did not bring him in. But I was looking at him just if we did get like knockout or something. I was thinking that maybe him to be like extra midfielder. But that's not how it came to pass. But those are the things I was thinking. I did look at a few other cheap players. Oh yeah, I did actually. There was Okor again. I looked at Jaws Okor. He was only needing like 1 million to buy. But I felt, you know, Megan was my main buy. And then Gary Cahill was free. So I thought I can either get Gary Cahill or Jaws Okor. I was like, I'm going to get Gary Cahill, I think. So I went for Gary Cahill instead. But again, I was looking at some cheaper players, but I really just wanted to bring in players I knew were good. Rather than taking a risk on a player that was just another squad player. So yeah, that's what the team looks like. The season begins today. We have our first match against Man City. So it's... Don't expect to win here, guys. Please. Don't expect much from us today. I apologize for my speaking. I can't seem to talk today. It's been a long summer. It took me actually ages to do the summer. I was going through really slowly because I was just like, I really wanted certain players, and I was like, I'm going to go for that one. I was meticulous in like my look at the stats and stuff. Like, that's the one I want. I just went for those players. Man United just beat Crystal Palace 5-0. So great. We should probably have a quick look at Man City for you guys. Pep is still in charge. He is the manager. Last year they did come third, so they were very, you know, Champions League football. Didn't win, but still, you know, respectable. Kevin De Bruyne is still their key player, so okay. Let's see if they brought in any new transfers then. Oh wow, okay. They sold 48 million. That's a lot of money to bring in there, but they also bought in 189 million. You know, I thought we spent a lot of money. I think 50 million's a lot for a team like ours. But I had to spend it. We had to do as much as possible. And you'll see the squad in a second. They brought in Mario Icardi for 99 million. Wow. I mean, he's probably worth it, considering how good he is. I mean, look at the stats. And let's see. 23 goals last season in 36 games for Inter. Yeah, I think he was probably worth it. I guess he's here to replace Aguero when he has to retire, so there you go. Other players they brought in, they spent a small amount of money on some other players. 40 million on Louis, Goulam. John Flanagan? Really? John Flanagan? Didn't he used to play at Liverpool? He did, yeah. And he went to Rangers on a free, and they just spent 13.5, possibly going up to 17.25 million. Wow. Okay, Man City. Fair do. Okay, fine. So there's Man City for you. But let's look at our team, and I'll show you our plans and ideas, how the squad looks. Because the transfers, you can see, but you don't see who's maybe left on freeze and stuff, and what the squad looks like in general. There may be a few surprises here. But obviously, we got our tactic we had from last season. I made one or two changes slightly. We're going to use this when we play a bit more defensive. So when we play against big teams, we're going to use this formation, I think. But in normal games, I'm thinking we will use this formation. Or maybe we'll use an attack in midfield. So this position will change. Either there'll be attack in midfield or defensive midfield. I've not really set much tactics, so I'm not really sure how I want them to play. Our players aren't really good at anything particular. So they can't really play control, passing football, or counter football that well. So I might just keep them very simple and let them play their game. So that's a tactic we might be using normally. or sometimes this will move here. You know, we'll play with an attack in midfield. It depends, but our midfield area I think is really good. So I kind of want to play like that. But this is our tactic for today because we are playing Man City. We've got, in our striking role, we've got Sergi and Rich up front. Like I say, he looks pretty good, looked pretty decent. He looked really good in pre-season. In pre-season, I think we won every game. Yeah, pre-season, we did win every game, even a 7-0 win. But those aren't that important. But I can tell you he did very well in the pre-season. For backup for him, of course, we got Bobby Reed. Bobby Reed's still looking really good. I can't decide who's best between them. So I'm letting Sergi have a go so we can see what he can do. He is slightly older as well. And as their backup, we're actually using Darcy McDonald, that young 16-year-old I showed you last year. I think he looks really good. And look how much he's improving. Since we put him into the first team, he's improved a lot. I think, and I put him in a mentoring group as well. So I think he's learning a lot from like Sergi and Bobby Reed and other players. So he's starting to look really good. So I think he'd be fine as a backup. And he's only 16 years old. McDonald, he could be a future star. I did want to bring in some young players into the first team. Like I say, don't think the players we brought in transfers are the only things we've changed. We've also brought forward some young players because I really want us to obviously develop these players so we have some strong Cardiff-trained players. So if we ever do get to Europe in the future, we actually then, you know, can use these players for, you know, they need some players that have been trained at the clubs. We don't have many of those. So I think Darcy would be really nice. So I didn't actually bring in another striker. We're actually just going to use our young striker as the backup. On the wing, of course, we have Josh Murphy. I think he's fine still. He's looking pretty good. Very happy with him. As his backup, still got Junior Hollett. Don't trust him completely. If I could, I would get rid of Junior. He's one that we do want to replace in the future. So if we ever get more money in, Junior will probably be one of the ones to be going. On the other side, we have Cabot for today. I would be using Dos Santos, but Dos Santos did have a slight injury, so he's not completely fit. Again, I probably would be looking for another right winger in the future. So every other position I'm pretty happy with, but I think we need one more right and one more left winger. Then I'll be very happy, unless obviously these new players really make me sad. In the middle there, we're going for Ndidi. Wilfred Ndidi looks really good. He can play box-to-box, so happy to bring him in here. We've also got with him Gunnarsson. I love Gunnarsson. He played really well last season. Hoping for that to continue. I did actually try to buy Harry Arter. I forgot to mention that as well. But they wanted 35 million for Harry Arter. So I couldn't bring ourselves to spend 35 million for him, even though I really wanted him. For backup for them, we've got obviously Joe Rowles. I really like Rowles as well. I love our midfield, like Rowles, Gunnarsson, Patterson. They all look really good. So I think our midfield's really nice right now. So I'm very happy with our midfield, what we've got here. As backup to them as well, obviously, like I said, Dos Santos, obviously, for the right wing or playing as the centre attack in there. Lee Tomlin we've still got as well, just in case we do go with the centre attack there. He didn't really get much chance to show us what he can do. We've also got Mendes on the side here, just in case Dos Santos goes in the centre. Again, I'll probably be letting him go. Lee Tomlin, Nathan Mendes, and Junior, our players will probably let go in the future. We have more money to bring in new players. But yeah, so those three are probably going to go in the future. We need them as backup for now, just in case we have bad injuries. I also brought forward Sion Spence from the under-18s. Like McDonald, he could play in the midfield role. He doesn't look great. I think McDonald's obviously 2 years younger. He's looking like he's going to develop a lot quicker. But I think if we bring Sion Spence up now, he's a good backup player. Just in case we have really bad injuries, he can perform if need be. But I'm hoping we can give him that chance to improve. So he is in the first team squad right now as well. On the left, we have Cunningham, of course, from last year, and his backup, Joe Bennett. They're both here. I like both the players. I know we can get better left backs. I did see one in particular at Rangers, a Croatian player who I really liked, but again, we just didn't have any money. And I felt these two didn't need to leave. I trust them, so we kept them in. On the other side, of course, because we're doing this formation, we've got Young. If we go for this formation, we go for Ashley Young. He doesn't like it, but I think he can play quite well in that sort of position. So if we play this formation, we go like this. If we go for the other formation, where it's more of a right back position, Luke Ayling will be playing in that role. So, like I say, we got a lot of different players for lots of different positions. We're going to do lots of different tactics. So, I kind of like our squad as a whole. Then at the back, of course, we've got Gary Cahill and our other new man, Chris Mayfam. Those two together, I think, would be a really nice combination. And for this formation, we need another one, so we've gone for Sean Morrison. And as backup for them, we've got, you know, Manga, who could still perform quite well, even though he's 31. He's still got very good physicals. And then Connolly, who I just trust the least, but his stats I don't think are as good as the other two, but he still does okay. He's not terrible. Just that heading, that 12 heading puts me off. But he can play right back as well. So lots of players can play lots of different roles. The goalkeepers are the same, Smithies and Etheridge, because, you know, I think they're both decent. We didn't need to change them. Again, like the left back, we probably can find better goalkeepers, but to do that, we have to spend lots of money. I have other places where we need squad players. So I think right now I'm very happy with the squad. I think we spend more money in the future. We've got a good basic squad. We now just need top quality players like, you know, left wing, right wing, you know, real top quality players, you know, left back maybe, whatever. Top quality players to come in. So whatever money we spend in the future, I'm hoping to bring in big star players or cheap ones that we can find that are hidden gems. Hidden gems would be good as well. But let's jump in. I've talked enough. But it's like you guys to understand where we are in the squad and what I'm thinking. Because, yeah, people always ask questions about that type of thing. And Didi does not have a number. Now, today's match doesn't matter. You know, if we lose, not a big deal. I would obviously like a draw, potentially, but we're not going to expect that. Pedro, ooh, they're not using their star sign-in. That's good for me. Very good, but, you know, De Bruyne and all the other players are still very dangerous. You know, even if they have injuries, it's not a big deal for us. They're still going to be really good. Encourage the players, give them morale. We're not playing at home. So let's go. We're underdogs, let's cause an upset. There we go. Just very simple here. Gunnarsson is the captain. Very happy to see that. I want to see what he can do. Come on, Gunnarsson. You've left out him. No comments. Oops. Oh, public want to see that. Okay. As long as it start with a win. The season won't be defined by one day yet. It's not a big deal if we do lose. You know, people expect us to lose against Man City. But I know this team can get points. We saw the second half of last season, we did get a few draws against the big teams. So we know we can do it. And in this formation. So we haven't beaten any. We haven't beaten a single top 16. But Sane is slightly injured. That's potential groin. Ooh. Who did that? Who did that? Was that you, Morrison? Cahill? I bet it was Cahill, wasn't it? Cahill just... Ugh. Cahill, come on. So, 20 minutes in. No highlights for either of us. They've had one shot on target. So I'm feeling like it's going well for us. I'm feeling quietly confident, but they are getting a lot of shots still. But as long as we're stopping getting good shots and we just get lucky. Come on, Enrich. Show us. Show us you can do this against big teams. You scored lots of goals in La Liga, you know, Barcelona, Real Madrid. You can do it in the Premier League, all after bringing on Bobby Reed. And actually, one real good thing as well is that Enrich and Bobby Reed can both play attacking midfield as well. So like I said, we got lots of players, lots of variety of different positions they can play. The squad in general, I'm very happy with. We've got experience, we've got young players, and here's a throw-in for Man City. Jesus hits it back, Emre Can, but someone gets back to his feet, and Gundogan misses. How? That would have been a goal if he got that on target, definitely. Gundogan, De Bruyne over a free kick, he fires it in, but Mayfam hits it out. And Jesus hits it over. Smithies seem to have a good reaction there, though, so good for you, Smithies. We've not had we've not had many chances, but we have stopped them as well. Alex Smithy, obviously our best performer right now. Josh Murphy's pass completion has not been good at all, though. Give them a morale boost. But I do know this squad isn't perfect. Like I said, we need some new attacking players. But just the money, I need to make sure. I always think for a small team like ours, a good defense is kind of more important than a good attack. Because we want to make sure we survive first. This is going to be another tough season. But yeah, nothing to lose to go out and play your best. Yeah, go out there and give it your best shot. You got nothing to lose. It's the first game of the season. I know like every point counts, but no one expects. We're away from home. Cabot. Okay, Cabot gets tackled by Sane. Okay, Smithies. Gets it to Cunningham. Could this be a highlight for Cardiff? And he gets it to Enrich. Enrich is on goal! And he scores! Sergi Enrich! That's what we want. That is the Cardiff way, or at least what I've turned Cardiff into. We will play more attacking football against the smaller teams because our clubs still want us to play attacking football. But against the big teams, I can't. And look, Cunningham, great ball. And reach his debut game, he scores. Wow. He might be our, little talisman. He didn't cost that much money. He couldn't end up being, like our bargain buy of the season. I was quite happy with the price we paid for him, actually. But then again, obviously, he might not be as good as I thought, maybe. Obviously, there wasn't many good, amazing strikers I could get. But let's hold firm, guys. Everyone, hold firm. You got this. There are 25 shots. We're going to FM. Come on. Okay, we're taking off Josh Murphy. But De Bruyne with a corner. Okay, I can. Okay, I literally... My throat was literally... Like, my voice in the back of my throat. I literally couldn't speak. I was speechless at that point as that ball went over. But Emre Can... Oh, he hits it over. God, I hate these corners. But let's take off Josh Murphy. His passing's not been good. We'll bring on Junior for him. We'll make you be support, and Cabot can be attack instead. Anyone else has changed? I think everyone else has been pretty good. Ashley Young, maybe, could be taken off. We could bring on Patterson for him. Patterson knows how to play that position. He played there mostly last season, so we could always... And that's the thing, that Patterson can play there as well. We got so many players who can play in different positions. I'm very happy. Maybe I should just go very defensive. Let's wait to the 80th minute. If we get to the 80th minute, I'll go very defensive. Ndidi is not having a great game and he's looking a bit tired. Let's take off Ndidi. We'll bring on... I'm thinking Patterson. Let's bring on Patterson because he's more of a ball-winning player. So we'll bring him a ball-winning midfielder. We'll go for that. Joe Rouse likes to run forward a bit too much. I think we just need to be a bit defensive here. So we'll bring him on for him. Rouse and Gunnarsson both like to run forward a bit too much, maybe. Okay, Cabot. Can we get another surprise goal? Or are we going to give it away? Junior with the ball. He gets a good ball to Enrich. Enrich is on goal. He should have got a second goal. Ah. We could have got 2-0. And I'd be very happy. We're almost to the 80th minute. Come on, guys. Get to the 80th minute. Cunningham's looking a bit tight. Okay, 80th minute. Oh, but I can't. Okay. Very defensive. I don't care. We want this win. And if they score, it would just be a draw. I'd still be happy with that. I'm going to take off Ashley Young. Because he's not having a good game. Cahill's not having a great game. But they've not let anything in. He's not that tired. So he can't be playing that badly. I don't really want to shake things up too much. I could bring on I could put Patterson back there. But then again, Ashley Young, there's probably not a big difference, to be honest. I could bring on... let's just leave it. Don't rock the boat, Sometimes you make too many changes and you make things worse, Okay, Walker, De Bruyne, Walker again. Can he get a good ball in? He gets to the Flanagan. And, could they not? They couldn't get it. Gundogan. And, that was not a penalty. Thank you. Our player just fell over him, apparently. Walker. Didn't get a good block there. That must have been Cunningham, yeah? No, it's definitely not Cunningham. I guess that must be Junior. That was probably Junior blocking that ball here. But Jesus. Great tackle there by... Who was that? Was that Junior again? Who was that tackle? That was amazing. We got 5 minutes. Come on. Okay, I'm taking off Cunningham. No, Cunningham's playing really well, but he is tired. We need new legs. We need new... 6.2. Manga, you're coming on. 6.2, yeah. We gotta take him off. You prefer ball play in midfield, but I'm just gonna keep you like that. Just do that, okay? No nonsense. Gary Cahill's coming off. If we now... have them score. If we now concede a goal, we've got 4 minutes, come on, extra time. If we would have conceded a goal now, I'd have been really upset because I took off Gary Cahill. No, it's only 10 seconds. There's no time. Yes, Smithies with the safe hands. Safe hands, Smithies. The time is over. Blow that whistle. I actually cannot believe it. Blow that whistle, referee. There we go. We beat Man City 4 shots, 3 on target to their 30. To their 38. We just FM'd Man City. The tactic worked. Wow, we actually beat a top 6 team. Maybe this team's better than that. Maybe I've actually put together a good team. I'm passionate. People have written, that was incredible. The first time we beat one of the top 6 teams since I've managed you, Cardiff. and it was really well done. We didn't let in any goals. Cardiff survived the claim at priceless victory. Enrique makes Cardiff debut, and what a debut it was. Greg Cunningham, man of the match. Incredible scenes here at Cardiff. Well, I guess that was at Man United. We were away from home as well. I really don't know what to say, guys. But yeah, an incredible victory. Is that a sign that this actually might be a good season? They're saying we're going to struggle this season, but is that a sign of things to come? Who knows? But we'll be back next time. We'll play Arsenal, Stoke. We got Tottenham. We'll be back then against Man United and Aston Villa. There'll be 2 games next time. Man United and Aston Villa. It's going to be a difficult game and an easier game. One of the new teams have come up, so yeah. Okay, guys, tell me, who do you think... I guess there's no point asking who's going to get relegated because you haven't seen all the different teams and who they've bought and stuff, but yeah. But yeah, how do you think we're going to do this? Do you think we brought in good players? What do you think of our transfers? I would love to know what you guys think. I'm hoping I made the right choices in my transfer. It was a struggle choosing our transfers because I kept wondering, like, because everyone needed players and I don't know. But yes, until next time, guys, I've been Ninja Paradox. We are the Bluebirds. Can we do it again? Will we have another season in the Premier League? I hope so.